Hashem's name we bless forever. We are going to talk today, B'ezrat Hashem, on April 2025, right before Chag HaPesach, about the case when Shabbat is the day preceding Pesach. It happens every few years, 4 or 5 years. And it puts before us a rare situation. A special situation. I don't want to say rare, but special situation. Why? Because every year we know the drill. The drill is very simple. Thank you for thinking of me. What's the special deal? And what's the drill? The drill is that we know the holiday is on the 15th, Tetvav. The day before, we burn the chametz during the day. The day we burn the chametz, then we stop eating chametz. We don't eat even matzah. We wait till the night. We have the Seder. The night before, we check for the chametz. So the night before we check for chametz, wake up in the morning, we're getting ready for the holiday. Those who are firstborn need to fast or participating in the Torah class, burning the chametz, stop eating chametz. I don't want to say timing because every city has its own time and they are announcing it. They're giving the exact time when you stop eating chametz and when you must burn and get rid of the chametz.
Is that the same time?
It's not the same time in every city. It's the same time, 4th hour and the 5th hour, but the counting is different. Central time, Western time, and all that. Just follow the schedule from your shul. And very simple. We're getting ready for the Chag. This year, it happens on Shabbat. That changes everything because Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night, is the holiday. So how I'm going to burn the chametz? It's Shabbat. If it's Shabbat, I have to eat 3 seudot, 3 meals with bread. But I can eat bread on the 3rd one. And if I want to do the 2nd seudah of Shabbat with bread, I have to be very early. So it brings a lot of questions. And so when I'm going to conduct the search for the chametz, everything changes. Okay? So it happens every year when Shabbat is the day preceding Pesach.
How often is that?
4 or 5 years. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiya bidvaro. Okay. Short introduction. Every few years, Pesach festival begins on Saturday night. And of course, the day before the festival of 14th Nisan is Shabbat. Our sages taught us, Tractate Pesachim 49a, that on those years the search for chametz is moved up, or back actually, to Thursday night. And it is to be burnt on Friday. So everything we do is we're doing a day before, okay? A normal year. 13 Nisan. Since it is impossible to conduct the search or to burn the chametz on Shabbat. Following this pattern, the custom of the fast of the firstborn is moved up to Thursday, 12 Nisan, since it is forbidden to fast on Shabbat and it is frowned upon the fast on Friday, to fast on Friday. It won't be appropriate because it's supposed to come happy with Onik Shabbat, and you can fast. All right? You're all familiar with the notion called Ta'anit Bechorot, the firstborn Ta'anit. I don't have to repeat that. Okay. I was asked today if a woman, girls needs to fast. The custom is not. You don't have to worry about that, especially in this year when it's not on its original date. Okay. The custom, those who hold the custom to fast, they should either get some cookie or cake from the siyum, the Torah learning that they do, and all is good. Okay, questions so far?
If the second child is the firstborn son, does that person have to fast? If the second child,
Second child.
firstborn son, first one son,
If he's a firstborn, he's a firstborn. Doesn't matter if he's the third to his mother or to his father. Firstborn is the firstborn. Conducting the Shabbat meals on 14th Nisan presents a challenge, like we have this year. Since everyone must complete cleaning the house of all chametz before Shabbat begins, and yet we must eat bread on each of the 3 Shabbat meals. So you can imagine to yourself, you can handle the first meal Friday night. During the day, we're going to do it early. What about the third meal? It's at the time that we already get rid of the chametz. We're not supposed to eat chametz. We're not supposed even to eat matzah. But I have to perform, to conduct, to eat a third meal with the bread, correct? We must make sure that, okay, all chametz before Shabbat begins, and yet we must eat bread on each of the 3 meals. We must make sure that while we enjoy bread, no crumbs or any trace of chametz is left behind after the meal. On Shabbat morning, we are subject to a time limit. We may eat chametz only until the 5th daylight hour. As I said, the shul announced it. So here it's going to be, I think, around 10:55. In Israel, it's around 10. Okay, so this is why I'm not announcing time. This makes it impossible to eat chametz bread for the 3rd Shabbat meal, since it can be eaten only in the afternoon. We cannot eat regular matzah on Saturday at all, since it is always forbidden to eat regular matzah on 14th Nisan. The recommended procedure for conducting all Shabbat meals is discussed in the halachot presented here. So, how are we going to solve these problems? No, I won't say problems, issues.
will we eat the third meal before the 10:50?
You can't. It's not considered a third meal. It has to be on its time. So imagine yourself eating 10 o'clock in the morning, finishing 10:30, and then says, okay, 10:31, I'm going to start the third meal. You can't. You have to be after the midday. Okay? So how are we going to do it? We'll see. B'ezras Hashem, we'll learn today what's the, in a nutshell, quickly, Sephardim eating, they call it rich matzah. It's a matzah that they folded together, they mix it with eggs and fry it. Okay? For Ashkenazim, they are just eating either meat or chicken or fruits or cookies, not something that doesn't have the taste of matzah in it, because you have to eat matzah at night. Okay? But we'll see it later on. There's a solution. We still have to do the third mitzvah as early as possible. Why? And eat just a little bit. Because we're supposed to eat at night, we have to come hungry and eat all the matzah and maror and 4 cups, and then the meal. You have to come hungry. Make sense? Okay. So let's start with the very beginning. When 14th Nisan, the day before Pesach, is Shabbat, we have this year, we search our chametz for chametz on Thursday evening, the night of 13th Nisan. The search is to be conducted by the light of a candle, but if there is no candle available, one may use a flashlight, since it is just as effective for searching in dark crannies and cursives. I mean, corners. Someone asked me the other day, can I use my phone? Like, why not? If it produces light, good enough, fine. What's the deal with a candle? Candle is the ancient way. It has to be 1 wick, not 2, because it produces big flame. So what's the problem with big flame? You know the Havdalah candle that has at least 2, if not 4 wicks? One would say, hey, that produces more light. Halacha says, no, you can't use this one. Just use a regular candle with 1 week. Why? Because when one have a big flame, almost like a torch, he will be afraid to burn things, going behind the couch, the corners. So he won't be really searching thoroughly. This is why 1 week, it's less hazard, less problem. All right, Sammy, make sense? Okay, have to be careful with that. So this is why people prefer the methods of using flashlights. Some do both. All right, starting with a candle and then moving to flashlight, or spreading the word around the house with the family members. You check upstairs, I'm going to check downstairs, you use flashlight, whatever. As long as you're doing, conducting a good search. Obviously, the search that we're doing is after the house is already clean, thoroughly. So some has the custom to spread 10 pieces. It has nothing to do with that, because even if you didn't find anything, you still have to do the search, and it's not a blessing in vain. But some communities, it doesn't have the custom to spread the 10 pieces. Many Yemenites don't do that. Some does it, if they follow Kabbalah. Just make sure you mark the places. All right? I'm explaining this every year. I'm telling this every year. I did a search 3 years ago, and we found only 9. 9 pieces. We go crazy. We went to our house upside down. We couldn't find it. We thought maybe the dog took it, but I don't have a dog, so I didn't know what to do. And then one of the kids remembered to say, "Oh, actually, I made only 9 pieces." Oh. That's what happened when you give kids the adult job, I was saying, right? So ever since I'm makpid, I'm really strict with that. It says, "Show me the 10 pieces before you go put it on." Anyways, but even if you didn't find the 10th piece, don't worry, because you are annul with the nusach, with what you're saying later on. So if you find it later, it's not belong to you. It's like the ashes of like soil, like the ashes. So no? Okay, good. So you said the blessing. I'm not going to repeat the blessing. You will have a siddur. You said the blessing. And after that saying the nusach, that you're annulling it. First, it's the bracha. And before conducting the search, one must recite the blessing, Baruch atah, yada, yada, yada. After completing the search, the homeowner must declare bitul chametz, annulling the chametz, saying, any leavening food or leavening in my possession that I have not seen, be like the dust on the ground. Okay? All the chametz food that one intends to eat on Friday and on Shabbat in the morning must be kept in a protected corner so that it does not become scattered about the house accidentally. If that will happen, it will become necessary to conduct yet another search for chametz, especially houses that have kids. So the kids don't know what I'm talking about. They just all over the place, and you can't really follow what they do. And you have to be careful. So put it in a high place, in the corner, in a box. No one is touching it. It is recommended, by the way, to use on Shabbat, pita. Some sort of tortilla, soft tortilla. Things that doesn't produce too much crumbs. All right? But we'll discuss it later. Any questions so far? What will be the case if someone on Friday says, "Hey, I was supposed to conduct the search last night. I forgot. It's Friday already, and now we remember in the middle of the day he didn't conduct the search for chametz." What do you need to do? Is it too late? It's not Shabbat. It's then. So you're saying you still have a chance to check. Okay, if someone forgot to conduct the search for chametz on Thursday night, or if he was unable to, he should conduct the search on Friday morning using a candle, even Friday afternoon, using candle as if it were night. If he did not remember to conduct the search until Shabbat had begun, he may not conduct the search during Shabbat, even if he has a lit candle prepared from before Shabbat. It is forbidden to handle a lit candle on Shabbat, and it is likewise forbidden to instruct a non-Jew to carry the candle around while a Jew conducts the search by its light. Instead, he must wait until it is Pesach and then conduct the search. Yom Tov, you can handle fire, no problem, right? If he failed to conduct the search through the entire Pesach, Pesach is over, and he didn't conduct the search. Is the mitzvah of searching for chametz still valid? Can he still do it after Pesach? He must still conduct the search after Pesach so that he will not mistakenly benefit from any chametz that had owned during Pesach. Okay. Let me skip this halacha about the firstborn. The halacha, the poskim debating if we still have to fast on this special situation, because it's the fast of the bechorim, the firstborn, is moved. It's not in its original date, so it's moved up. Okay, actually the night before. So some says you're exempt, some says you still need to do. Most of the poskim hold that it's good to participate in a Torah learning in order to be exempt from fasting. If you forgot, you can do it. You can be this year very lenient. Okay, it's not on its time anyway. What about a father that usually the father fast for his own son till he become bar mitzvah? Okay, Misha? So, for example, if the child is 5 years old, is the firstborn, he can't fast. So the father takes the responsibility and he fasts for him, or he participates in Torah learning, so then he's exempt. So the halacha says, if a man who is not a firstborn himself has the custom of fasting on the day before Pesach every year on behalf of his child, who is a firstborn and not yet bar mitzvah, on this year it is not necessary to fast at all. Why? Again, because it's not on its original place, so a date, so we can be more lenient. Even in those places where firstborn women have the custom to fast on the 14th Nisan, on this year it is totally unnecessary. There is no need for them to participate in the celebration of completing a tractate of the Talmud in order to avoid fasting. Since the fast cannot take place on the proper day, it is voided altogether. Okay. Okay.
Just a quick question. So, for Shabbat, we are still using challah bread, or do we use the pita bread?
Well, the answer is yes for both, but we'll get to it. Okay. We're talking about this year. Remember, it's a special situation, special case. Even though it is permissible to eat chametz throughout the day of 13 Nisan, which is Friday, nevertheless, it is proper to burn and destroy chametz in the morning during the 5th sessional hour on that day when it is Friday, like we're going to have this year in a few days. Okay, the shul or Torah here now has already announced the time. We have the schedule on the bulletin board. By behaving as we do every year on the day before Pesach, we will be sure not to make a mistake and delay the burning of the chametz until the afternoon on the other years. Because one would say, okay, I have actually the whole Friday. The actual burning is supposed to be the next day on Shabbat. We're doing this year a day early. So I don't have to follow all this time. Like, it's so important to burn on the 5th hour and the 6th. The halacha says yes. Why? If you won't follow this procedure, next year you get confused. It says, I remember last year I did it in the middle of the day. It was around 2 o'clock. It was 3 p.m. No, this is why we're doing like as if this is the eve of Pesach. You got it? Okay? By behaving as we do every year on the day before Pesach, we will be sure not to make a mistake and delay the burning of the chametz until the afternoon on other years. After burning the chametz, one should leave over the amount that will be needed for the Friday night meal and Shabbat morning meal and no more. But listen, it's going to be different this year. Every year we burn the chametz and we're saying a nusach that we annul it. Okay? We destroy it, be like the dust on the earth, like ashes, fine. This year you just burn it, you don't say the nusach. Why you don't say it? Because how you can say that you get rid of the chametz and then eat chametz leavening Friday night and the day before and after Shabbat. So when we will say it, we will say it, but on Shabbat when we get rid of the chametz. How are we going to get rid of the chametz on Shabbat? Either use challah or pita or bread. You can use challah, but it's recommended to use something that doesn't produce too much crumbs. Okay? Especially not baguette. You know, a French baguette, you break it, and then it's like a party all over. It's permitted, but it's not recommended. One should avoid preparing foods for these meals containing chametz that dries up and sticks to the pot. It is cooked in such as farina, since it is forbidden to wash the pot after the meal on Shabbat, being it is not an act necessary for the sake of Shabbat itself. Bottom line, what we do is we're preparing food that is kosher for Passover, for Friday night. We're eating with disposable dishes, plates, and silverware. Okay? We have to be careful that it won't touch the pot, because the pot is kosher for Pesach. Okay. After eating the Shabbat morning meal, and while it is still permissible to have chametz in one's possession, one must declare the bitul chametz, annulling the chametz. There is no reason to declare the bitul chametz on Friday. Like I mentioned before, you don't really do it. Okay. See below halacha 20, where it is recommended that one should use only utensils that are kosher for Pesach use to cook the food for this Shabbat, and of course the food themselves should contain no chametz whatsoever. So the only chametz that we actually have in this meal is the little piece of bread, so we can say hamotzi, you eat kazayin and put it away. Don't make now big feast with a lot of bread. Try to compensate with other type of food. We just want to fulfill the mitzvah with bread / challah for the amount of kazait minimum required. A little bit more is fine, but try to be very careful with that. All right. Any questions so far? Yes, Misha. What's the question? No? Everything is clear to you? Okay. Some poskim rule that it is permissible technically to sell one's chametz throughout the day on Friday. Let me skip that. Bottom line, we sell the chametz to the Rebbe and the shul, and he knows when and how to conduct selling the chametz to a non-Jew. Okay, it is permissible to purge kitchen utensils to be used on Pesach all day on Friday, 13 Nisan. We don't do it every year. right? Every year, a certain time, you don't mess with chametz anymore. This year is different. You can still eat chametz, and you can still kosherize utensils to be used on Passover. There's a list out there of names of utensils and I don't know, machines that you use, grinders or whatever machines you use during the year, if you want to use them on Passover, okay? Not every utensil can be kosherized. You need to be very careful with that. This is why you should have your own, a different set of Passover dishes. Some like their coffee grinder, so you can kosherize it, all right? But you have to follow the right procedure. Although there are poskim who rule that this may be done only until the end of the 5th sessional hour, for fear that people may think that it is permissible all day on other years, if it will be permitted all day this year. The custom is to permit it throughout the day. I don't recommend to kosherize anything unless you have a special knife that you'd like to use or a special utensil that you want to use. Okay? But you have to kosherize it in the proper way. On Friday afternoon, it is permissible to perform any manner of work, even skilled professional labor, which is permitted on any other Friday. One must make sure, it's about this year, to have all the Pesach preparations taken care of. However, during the final 2.5 session hour of the day, however, activities are restricted as they are on any Friday. So remember we mentioned like 2.5 hours, 3 hours before sunset, you should stop from any labor. You have to show preparation for Shabbat, for the oneg of Shabbat, and there's no good fortune, there's no good mazal in that labor. If one thinks that he makes money, he will lose it. It says there's no bracha in it, unless it's an emergency. Emergency case is different. Emergency for doctors, sometimes even for lawyers, they have to get someone from the jail or whatever, okay? Any questions if it's emergency or not, consult with your local rabbi. Okay. The next halachot talks about baking matzah, which I'm going to do Be'ezrat Hashem soon. Let's skip that. Okay. We use lettuce for the mitzvah of maror. Yes? Okay. Maror. As our sages taught in Pesachim 39a, what is hazeret? It is hasa, lettuce. What do you guys Ashkenazim use for hazeret? The grain, right? This is pretty spicy. This is really, really strong. Horseradish. For it symbolizes the fact that God acted mercifully, as in Aramaic saying, with us, and saved us from Egypt. The lettuce must be, not horseradish, but it refers to chasa. Chasa comes from the word chas. Chas means feel mercy, or was merciful. Chasa is lettuce. You familiar with the word chasa? It's the name of a vegetable. Chasa, lettuce. Chasa, she feel mercy. Or chas, he feel mercy. It's also, so it symbolizes that. This is why we're using chasa for that, lettuce. The lettuce must be inspected carefully on Friday to ensure that it is not infested, since it is common for this problem to plague lettuce. It's like a plague on lettuce. Lettuce is full of. Here, Baruch Hashem, I must tell you that in America, the lettuce is relatively clean. compared to other places that were. But yet, you will find many times bugs or residues of bugs. Could be mosquitoes, small mosquitoes. Okay, so what's the best method to clean chasa, lettuce? You have to break it, all the leaves. Okay, leaving the middle part, put it in a big pot or whatever, plastic. What do you call this? A plastic bowl. Big one, and you soak it with water. This after you wash it. You have to soak it with a material to get rid of all, bugs that could be in it. So what material do we use? People mistakenly put salt or vinegar. For the insects, it's just, it does nothing. The best thing to use is detergent, using a liquid soap. The dish soap. Okay, you can use that for 10 minutes. Make sure it reaches all part of the chasa, the lettuce, and it'll be good enough. Wash it after that thoroughly, so you don't want to have a taste of the dishwasher soap on.
Liquid soap you put in the bowl?
What kind of a liquid soap? For the dishes?
For the lettuce.
What kind?
How much of the liquid soap?
Well, okay. So it depends how much lettuce you are clearing. I would say for one lettuce, 1 cup is enough. Not 1 cup, and 1 spoon. 1 tablespoon is enough. Okay. That will kill it, and you might see some floating. Wash it. This is after you're washing it. Okay, wash it thoroughly. Okay. Afterward, the lettuce should be kept refrigerated or in a moist towel, so that it does not become wilted before it is eaten at the Seder. One may not soak the lettuce in water from Friday until the Seder night. However, for them, the lettuce will have the halachic status of being pickled and will be unfit for use for the matzah. They're referring here to a case when people using salt or vinegar. Obviously, with the soap, it's not going to work. In a situation where one has no vegetable to eat for the mitzvah of maror, other than lettuce, that had been soaking in the water for 24 hours or more, one may use that lettuce for that mitzvah. The one that is soaked for too long, it was not supposed to. Okay. You will see this year that the minyanim, the prayers, are early for a reason. Here, in many shuls, they do on Shabbat 8:45, 9 o'clock minyan, right? It's going to be 7 o'clock in the morning, early minyan. Okay? For us, it doesn't really make a big difference. We're coming every Shabbat, right, Cohen brothers? We have 7:15 minyan, so we're here early anyways.
It makes a difference.
So now, why we do that? We do early minyan, so we can finish davening quickly, and we'll be able to go home and start the meal quickly with chametz before the forbidden time, which shortly come after at 10:55, if I remember correctly, 10:54 or something like that. All right. After this hour, we cannot eat chametz anymore. So, on Shabbat morning, 14 Nisan, everyone should rise from bed early and begin services in the synagogue so as to recite the Amidah of Shacharit, the silent tefillah, at the moment of sunrise. The congregation should avoid drawing out the prayers with singing and additional hymns, and if possible, no more than 7 people should be called up to the Torah. In this way, they will be able to finish their prayers and return home in time to have meal with bread while it is still permissible to eat chametz. Okay. Thank you. The haftarah of this Shabbat is very special. We're saying a special tefillah. In most congregations, the haftarah to be read on Shabbat, this Shabbat, is the one usually read on Shabbat HaGadol, found in Malachi 3:4-24. This is based on the teaching of our sage in Rosh Hashanah that just as our ancestors were redeemed during the month of Nisan, our nation is destined to be redeemed again during the month of Nisan. It's a time of redemption. When something big happens, every year, same time, same day, it happens again. So if a time of receiving Torah, the day that you can learn Torah, you should learn Torah, and you receive Torah at the highest level, it's going to be Shavuot, for example. The people of Israel left Egypt in Nisan. It's a time of redemption. The entire nation has a redemption, either for Klal Yisrael, a general redemption, or a private redemption. It's time of Geula. That's the meaning of redemption. We mentioned that also in Purim. When you have a good mazal, okay, everything goes upside down for the best for the Jews on the times of Purim. Every year in the same date, okay? And God forbid, when happens a disaster, so something happens on the times of Av, when the Temple Mount was destroyed and so forth and so on. Same time, same date. It's a very hard days to the Jewish nations on those days. And they will be, Be'ezrat Hashem, changed soon, when Mashiach comes, and all these sad days and days of Ta'anit, the days when we fast, will turn to a day of celebration and joy and holiday, because many years ago, on the month of Av, the 9th of Av, it was a holiday. They ate, they drank for many, many years, till the second temple got destroyed, and again, the 9th of Av became a day of mourning and agonies and all that. During the morning meal, everyone must take great care not to allow crumbs to scatter from the table. Immediately after the meal, all the utensils used with chametz must be put away in storage. This is why we recommend to use the disposable one. All the crumbs on the table must be shaken off into the garbage can, which must then be taken out of the house. Okay, I'm going to skip that. You understand the idea. If you're left over with bread from the meal, you either break it to small pieces, toilet, flush it, or small bag in the trash, or to pour in it some bleach or something that will disqualify it and ruin it from being called food. Right? Now, afterward, everyone should thoroughly wash his hands, okay, and rinse out his mouth to make sure that no crumbs of chametz is left behind. It is best to carefully clean between one's teeth with toothpicks or a pin, okay, but taking care of the same time not to cause the gum to bleed because it's Shabbat. Clean up the mouth. You have chametz. Imagine to yourself, it's stuck. Not disgusting, but stuck in your mouth, and you eat matzah after that, mixed with the chametz, it's still stuck in your mouth. Okay, Misha? This year, you be strict about it. Use the, what do you call it? Floss. Okay. You should do it the whole year, Misha, not only on... It's recommended. I ask a dentist, what is the best way to protect your teeth? You know what he told me? Flossing. The best. Okay? Everything else, it's a bonus. I think we are going to do 5 more minutes. After the meal, it's very important to remember. It happens only in those years that we have this schedule. after the meal, one must declare the bitul chametz, saying, any leavening food or leavening in my possession, whether or not I have seen it, and whether or not I have destroyed it, should be considered null and like the dust of the ground. Which language are we saying? People have sidurim in Hebrew. They read it in Hebrew. It's wonderful. But if you don't understand what you're saying, because it's either in Hebrew or in Aramaic, say it in the language you understand. This is why in many sidurim, you have it Hebrew and Aramaic, because Aramaic many people don't understand. Say the language you understand, because if you annul something, you need to understand what you are annulling. You're making a declaration, you don't understand what you're saying. So say it in Hebrew, in Aramaic, and then in English. And you cover all options. It's just one sentence, take 1 minute. ¿Comprende? Sammy? Que say in Spanish too. Okay. Alrighty. Our sages institute a rule that it is forbidden to eat matzah during the day of 14 Nisan. So that this is Shabbat already, okay? So that when we eat matzah at the Seder, it will be obvious that we are eating it for the sake of the mitzvah. If you ate it all day long before, you're not showing that it's for the sake of the mitzvah. This prohibition begins in the morning of the day of Nisan, this Shabbat. It is permissible to eat matzah during the evening of the 14th of Nisan, the night before, Friday night. Many people are avoiding even that. So they have the taste of matzah for the first time on the Seder night. And that's the best way to go, best method. Okay? Likewise, it is permissible. Furthermore, it is permissible during the day of 14 Nisan to eat matzah ashira, which is made of unleavened wheat flour kneaded with wine and sugar. It's some sort of cookies that are kosher for Pesach. You may eat it. Bottom line, you need to come to the Seder hungry, with appetite. If you have to eat something during the day, you're going to start eating probably around, if davening starts around 8:40 p.m., Sfaradim do Hallel, the blessing, I would say around 9:15, 9:30 people will start the Seder. Okay? To avoid eating all day, for some people it's a little bit hard. So you may eat during the day a little bit fruit. Take a piece of fruit, a piece of an apple. Okay? So, but make sure, or drink a lot, okay? Just make sure you come to the Seder with appetite and enjoying the matzah. Especially those who eat the big cardboard, the Ashkenazi way, I think. We're eating the soft matzah, like lafa, soft matzah, so much easier. But those who eat this, my heart is really with you guys. Okay, 2 more minutes. I already explained how to get rid of the chametz. Any questions so far? I want to come, now it's the very important thing to discuss, the third meal. It is impossible to fulfill the mitzvah of eating the third meal with chametz, since that meal may be eaten only after it is time to recite the mincha prayer, and that is long after it becomes forbidden to eat chametz. Therefore, the correct way to fulfill the mitzvah of eating the third meal is by eating boiled or fried matzah, as mentioned above, since one cannot use these matzot for the mitzvah of eating matzah at the Seder. It's not what we're going to say there, right? It is permissible to eat them during the day of 14 Nisan, Friday. One may recite the blessing of Hamotzi and Birkat Hamazon over these matzahs, since they still appear to be matzah, and they are at least kazait of volume. Okay. let me just finish that part and I give you the tip and we're done with that. One must schedule the third Shabbat meal early in the afternoon and certainly before the end of the 9th sessional hour of the day. So that one will have a hearty appetite to eat the matzot of the mitzvah during the Seder. In the land of Israel, it is approximately 2:30 p.m. In the New York area, it is sometime after 4 p.m. If someone did not eat the third Shabbat meal until after that time, he may still eat it, but he must limit himself to no more than kabeitza, like an egg, the volume of a shelled egg, approximately 50 grams of matzah. If he wishes to eat matzah ashira, okay, ashira is the one that mixed with other ingredients, sugar and wine. For the third Shabbat meal, he should recite the blessing of Borei Minei Mezonot, because it's a cookie like, before eating it, and the blessing of Me'en Shalosh afterward. He may not recite Birkat HaMazon, since the rule is not to recite blessing if it is necessary, if its necessity is in doubt. Bottom line, if someone has neither boiled matzah or matzah ashira, rich matzah, he should fulfill the mitzvah of eating the third Shabbat meal by eating meat or fish, or at the very least by eating fruit. Okay? I want to wish each and every one here happy Passover and Shabbat Shalom. You should all have a wonderful Pesach. We hear good news that all our hostages were released. May Hashem bless you with this month of redemption, with a private redemption to each and every one here. Shabbat Tov. Thank you. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi. I have two questions for you. Welcome back, Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
If you